Well, you knew it was coming. So welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and the bike setup. Today is Monday, August the 14th, and I fly out in a few days, 2-3 days. And this time next week, I'll actually be pedaling. So, rolling out on Sunday, 1945, 7:45 p.m. and I am frame number P245. So I will post a link for you to follow me should you wish. All right. I want to walk you through what I think is my final setup. Not quite sure, but it's pretty close. So here's the headline. We have a Ritchey steel bike, a Road Logic, with head wheels, Dura-Ace R9100 11-speed mechanical group set with a set of Pro Discover bags. Okay, so now let's dig a little deeper. This Road Logic I've ridden in many long events, and I did the 400K with this setup right here, and I did the 600K with this setup, except for the bags. So I had a top 2 bag and a burrito bag for the 400 and 600K. So the only thing that's different now is the bags. So I had the same wheels, same frame, and but I had just, I didn't have the seat bag in the back, seat post bag, and I did not have the frame bag. All right, so the reason I chose this Discover bag setup, and this is the team version, is this stuff is super light. I mean, it is super thin, super light. So I had a Toe Peak bag that I had purchased. I also had an Ortlieb bag that I had purchased. And both of those bags just seemed quite heavy, quite, well, the Ortlieb bag was something like this, but the Toe Peak bag, I think it was called a backloader, it was a very heavy fabric, which I can definitely see. You take the bag off, you throw it in your campsite, and then you put it back on your bike, and a very durable setup. So that Toe Peak backloader, I think, is a great bag for that use. But this bag, or this bag setup, they're super thin. You can tell by the welded seams that it's a waterproof setup. So I'm really excited about these bags. Because, well, if I save some weight on the bags themselves, not being a weight weenie, but being prudent, being smart and pragmatic, if I save some weight on the bags, then that means I can carry more gear and still get to the same weight. So, for example, I've got a lot of nutrition inside this bag. Now, this is an event where there are controls, and you eat at the controls. You pay for the food, but you can eat at the controls. However, the first 200K, so the first 125 miles, because I'm rolling out at 7:45, it has been suggested that you carry enough for the first 200K. You can get water at the first 120K, so about 74, 75 miles. But, water and food. But if you want to keep moving forward and get ahead of, the large group of riders, you want to be able to just keep moving. All right. So I didn't go with the burrito bag because I want to put my headlights here, and I can ride and access my burrito bag, but Lori and Barbara said they had trouble accessing that stuff while on the roll. The strategy of a burrito bag is it's just storage. right? You have it in the burrito bag when you pull over to get fluids or a restroom stop. You take stuff out of the burrito bag, put some stuff into your back pockets, and that's good until your next stop. So the burrito bag is just storage, but I'm able to access it while riding. These are the Sigolite Ranger 2000s, and in a previous video I talked about their burn time. They claim, 20 hours. I got at least 18 hours of it running. Now I only need lights typically the first night because we're riding through the night, but I think our plan is that in the second day and third day, we're not going to ride at night. So our time is going to be a lot longer, probably in the 80-hour range, 80-plus hour range, because we want to be able to sleep, get onto a rhythm where we are riding during the day and sleeping at night instead of riding through the night. Maybe another time I'll go back and do that. Just race it all the way through. This is the top 2 bag that fits a 20,000 battery pack, external battery pack. So I'll be able to charge my lights if I need to, or charge my computer if I need to. I'll probably be taking also a spare Wahoo computer just in case, for whatever reason, this computer dies on me. This Garmin 1040, which has ridiculous battery life. I mean, absolutely ridiculous battery life. But I will be taking the battery pack for it. Rick Liang made a comment that he was in Europe for about 3 weeks, and there were very few days that had enough bright sunshine to keep his, getting more battery life from, the solar power. As I mentioned, I've got a ton of nutrition in here. So as that slowly starts to empty out, that bag will be probably less than half full. And then I can put, let's say I stop into a control, I grab a couple of sandwiches, throw those in there, and roll on. Some of you might be able to see the Silka pump underneath here. So I've got my Silka frame pump underneath there. And then I've also got I needed to shoot this video because I got some appointments coming. But I've got some side loader cages that I'm going to put here so I can get the bottles in and out. I had my typical endurance toolkit that normally goes clamped to the back of the saddle, but it was taking up too much room. And so I got this Velcro extra bottle cage here, and I've attached it on here. And inside here is now my toolkit. So very low center of gravity down by the crankset, bottom bracket. You just can't get any lower than that and still be on the bike. I've got another spare tail light. What's probably going to happen is this spare headlight I'm just going to take off and put it in my bag, and then if I need it, then I pull it out. So this is just for setup and for filming purposes. So I've got 2 of them, but because you need spares, but it's probably just going to end up in the bag somewhere until it's necessary. Same thing with the taillights. I've got extras, so I'm going to just go with one on the bike itself. I've been going back and forth on the what cassette I'm going to use. 1130, 1132, 1128. Anyway, this is an 1130. That's probably what I'll end up with, and a 5339. I'm sorry if I'm shading the bike, but the sun is where it is at this time of the day. And then this bag here. So right now, I keep experimenting with what I'm going to take. So right now it's got arm warmers, knee warmers. It has arm coolers. It has base layers, and some other. It has chamois cream, wipes, you know, baby wipes. It's got a few other things in here. And there is still an enormous amount of capacity left in this bag. Most of those things are light. They're not, you know, made out of metal or anything. So this bag will just be predominantly clothing, just because it has such a high center of gravity. This bag will probably be for something a little heavier, but as I mentioned, there's just a lot of nutrition in bags right now, and that's just eventually going to start getting used up. I want to be able to not eat that much solid foods. I know it's a thing on Paris, Brest, Paris to enjoy all the food and all that stuff, and I will. And I definitely will enjoy it off the bike as well. But when I'm on the bike, I just perform significantly better on liquids. So I would love to go through this event at about 75-25, 75 liquid, 25 solid, maybe 60-40 at the most. But yeah, it's just easier for me to continue to stay hydrated and fueled. Now, the other thing is the weather is looking like it's in the 90s for Paris. And, you know, so it's going to be, you know, for me, living here in San Diego, that's pretty warm, right? So we're always moderate, 75, 85 during the summer months, unless you go inland, and then it's 100 plus. But, you know, I stay away from that. If it's 100 plus, I stay away from it. I don't believe in heat acclimation also. I mean, I've done a lot of ultras. I just don't believe in heat acclimation. So I've not been going out. I did 1 or 2 rides. I did post about them, but that was also because I was testing out a hydration pack. But yeah, I mean, I honestly just, I don't know. I just don't like to be out in the heat thinking that that's going to make me more used to the heat. I'm not going to live in it for 6 months. So it's only going to be every, you know, a day every now and then. It just doesn't make sense for me to do that. I think you just don't get good training value out of that. Okay, I'm looking forward to questions and comments. And oh, by the way, I'm not going to change anything on the bike. You know, it's so funny. I post these videos as a this is what I'm doing. Generally speaking, I don't take advice from you folks. So just so you know, it's going to fall on deaf ears unless I find it is definitely something that has value. But everyone wants to give you their 2 cents, and you know, most of those people have never done 750 plus miles on the bike in one shot. So anyway, that's all for today, except one last thing. I was watching another YouTuber's video, and they said, you gotta have a bell. It cheers everyone up. And as you're riding through towns, these villages, apparently it's like 170 plus villages that we'll ride through. People come out and cheer you, and you know, they give you well wishes as you pass by. So anyway, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.